Enroll your child for the manifested e-learning platform and see their grades grow tremendously. These videos can be downloaded to a laptop for offline viewing or viewed from a smartphone in a cost-friendly format.
Hello learners, welcome to our today's geography lesson. The topic is land reclamation and rehabilitation. We have been studying the methods that can be used to reclaim land. So far, we have discussed irrigation of arid and semi-arid areas. In our last lesson, we discussed the drainage of swamps and marshes. In our today's lesson, we will dwell on fly control and clearing of jungles. We are going to discuss fly control and clearing of jungles as a method of land reclamation. Learners, welcome to our today's geography lesson. The topic is land reclamation and rehabilitation. It's my hope that you recall the definition of land reclamation and land rehabilitation. So learners, the method we are going to discuss today is fly. Fly control. Fly control and clearing of jungles. Clearing of jungles. Fly control and clearing of jungles. Now, learners, fly is a parasitic insect pest. Fly is a parasitic insect pest. Fly is a parasitic insect pest which feeds on animal and human blood. The insect feeds on animal and human blood. This insect, learners, thrives in damp areas which experience very high temperatures. Which experience what? High temperatures. And jungles, learner, a jungle is an area of land that is overgrown with dense vegetation and animals, sometimes very dangerous animals. So a jungle is an area of land that is overgrown with the forest of vegetation or trees together with the animals. So bushy vegetation, learners, or jungles, okay, is favorable habitat. A jungle is a favorable habitat for such insects like fly. Okay, and flies transmit diseases such as sleeping sickness, especially to human beings. And there is a disease called nagana. That one is a disease that this tsetse fly transmit to animals, like pigs, like cattle, camels, goats, sheep, and so on. All right? So you can see this animal. We said initially that it feeds on, this insect feeds on animal blood and human blood. And in the process, the tsetse fly can transmit diseases, very dangerous diseases like the Nagana disease to animals and sleeping sickness to human beings. Learners. So learners, tsetse flies have been problematic in Kenya a few years ago, especially in the Lambwe Valley in Homa Bay County. All right? The valley is located in Homa Bay County, stretching from the slopes of Gwasi Hills in the west and the Kanyamua escarpment to the east. And that valley extends to the to the shores of Lake Victoria. And I know you are aware that that is a region that is very hot. Sometimes it's hot and damp. It's a hot and damp climate. And it's coupled with swampy vegetation in that area. And that such environment provides very favorable breeding condition for tsetse flies. We say the insect thrives in hot areas that have high temperatures. So learners, I'm giving an example of regions that have been affected by tsetse flies, and I've said the Lambwe Valley, Homa Bay County, the valley extending to the Lake Victoria. I've said that the hot and damp climate coupled with the swampy vegetation in that area provides a very favorable ground for a breeding ground for tsetse flies. And some years back, there was a project of controlling this insect in that region that was undertaken by ISIPE. ISIPE, learners, is an abbreviation for the International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology. And they went to an extent of learners of establishing a research center in Mbita, all right, in Mbita, in Homa Bay County, which main focus was the control of the tsetse fly. All right, now learners, some of the control measures that were applied to eliminate tsetse fly then included one, clearing the bush, bush clearing. So we are talking of clearing of jungle. It's one way in which land can be reclaimed and rehabilitated. Clearing of jungle together with tsetse fly control. Don't forget that's our discussion. We are discussing tsetse fly control and clearing of jungles as a method of land reclamation. So, and we're giving a case here, what happened in our country, the Lambwe Valley, where the insect, tsetse fly, inhabited or invaded because of the favorable condition in that region, the hot and damp climate, the swampy vegetation, all right? Swampy vegetation because of the proximity to the Lake Victoria, okay? And there's a project that was undertaken to do what? To control and eliminate the tsetse fly. to eliminate the pest and hence do what? Obtain land for agriculture. Because if tsetse flies are many in that area, then we've said they feed on animal blood. So animals cannot survive in that area. So one way is to deal with the insect, all right, to control the insect, the tsetse fly, all right, and also clear the vegetation. So some of the measures applied, the measures that can be applied, to eliminate tsetse flies, tsetse flies include: 1, bush clearing. We've said that bushes are the main habitat for tsetse flies. And by clearing the vegetation, the bushes, there is less humidity. So both the adult flies and the young ones, we normally call them pupae. These are the young ones. And the adult ones can be killed. When you clear the bush, by clearing the bush, there is less humidity. The tsetse flies are exposed because there is humidity in vegetation. Okay, there is warm climate in vegetation. So when you clear, then the pupae and the adult tsetse flies are exposed. Okay, so bush clearing, learners. Bush clearing is a way in which tsetse flies can be eliminated. Is that clear? So learners, selective clearing of bushes is applied to prevent soil, also applied to prevent soil degradation, which could also occur. The second measure, learners, is insecticide application. B, insecticide application. This simply means apply insecticides. And this can be done through spraying from low-flying aircraft or from the ground. Learners, insecticide can be applied on vegetation in order to kill these tsetse flies. But the only problem sometimes is that the insects may develop resistance to the insecticide. And because of that, use of chemicals has become less popular with time. But in the initial stages, insecticides can help to eliminate tsetse flies. Then the third measure is sterilization. Sterilization, learners, is the introduction of sterility in the insect population. It may be done by cross breeding the the closely related species, which result in sterile males, or by introducing an exotic species into the habitat of the original species. But learners, it's also interesting to note that a female tsetse fly mates only once in her lifetime. But the sperms that are introduced into her body during mating are used for the rest of her life. It's a bit interesting, but also important to note. It's interesting but important to note that a female tsetse fly mates only once in her lifetime, but the sperms are used for the rest of her life. So sterilization, learners, is the introduction of sterility in the insect population. And I've said it can be done by cross-breeding the closely related species, which can result in the sterility of the males. The other method, learners, of sterilization relies on laboratory-bred males, which are sterilized and released into the wild. Now, when the sterile male mates with the female tsetse fly, no offsprings are produced because fertilization does not take place. And because of that, it leads to reduced population of the tsetse flies. Remember, learners, we say that the female tsetse fly mates only once. And we are saying here that laboratory-bred males can be released, can be sterilized and be released into the wild. So when they mate, these males mate with the female tsetse flies, no offsprings are produced because fertilization does not take place. And because of that, then there is reduction in tsetse flies. So learners, this method is more effective than insecticide application because the laboratory-bred method, learners, targets tsetse flies only. But when insecticides are applied in an area, then that will affect these other important insects like bees, right? Bees may be eliminated through application of the blanket insecticides. So the sterilization method proves to be more effective and advantageous. Why? Because it only targets tsetse flies and not the other organisms like bees and the rest, which are not harmful to agricultural activities. So that is sterilization. Then we have traps. Traps can also be used, learners, and traps have been used for a very long time and have become an effective method due to the inclusion of the bait. The inclusion of the bait. Originally, learners, squares of black cloth coated with what we call bird lime, which is just a type of a glue used for capturing birds, were used. And the trap had something like a V-shape cross section with an opening that is the right word is longitudinal along the lower side of along the lower side, learners, and the lower side of the trap. So the trap looks like the resting sites used by the flies during the day. And learners, this method is cheap, and it gained popularity due to environmental awareness on the pollution caused by use of insecticides. All right, so this method is more popular because of the disadvantages of insecticide application. So learners, these are some of the methods that can be used in controlling flies. And once flies have been controlled, then land can be reclaimed for resettlement and agricultural use. So that will mark the end of our today's lesson, learners, where we have discussed the fly control and clearing of jungles as a method that can be used to rehabilitate and reclaim land. So, is there any question? If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Below this video, there's a comment section where you can post your questions, and all your questions will be answered. Before we close the lesson, I'm going to give you one question, which I expect you to answer before attending our next lesson. I'm calling it revision question. Explain 4 methods that can be used to control flies. Learners, when answering the question, make sure you don't copy directly from your exercise book. Close the exercise book, then answer the question. After you've answered the question, you can now refer to the notes. In case you find that the answers you gave are not correct, then you can review the notes, go through the notes. After you have revised the notes, then close the notes again and attempt the questions without copying. You need to do that as you continue learning, and that's one of the best ways to learn. Thank you for attending. In our next lesson, we're going to look at the other methods of land reclamation. Bye-bye.
Thank you for choosing to study with us. For more information, you can call us on 0724 173845.